Hello viewers and students, how are you all? I hope every one of you is fine and safe. This is your Arindam sir and you are watching Revision Learning. Today I will discuss on an exciting topic of force, work and energy. So students, without wasting much energy, let's work on understanding this topic and force ourselves to expand our knowledge about this chapter called Work, Force and Energy. Now students, this is the second chapter from the science from your Enjoy and Learn Term 2 book for the class 5 students. Now talking about this chapter, the biggest question of this chapter is that what is force? Now our daily lives involves numerous tasks such as cleaning the house, opening the door of the house, working at office or at any other place, or even playing in the field. And all these activities includes several movements that need us to pull or push objects that may react differently. So these activities can either set an object in motion or can stop a moving object. So this is all about the force, or this is called a force. So a force always doesn't move a object. For example, if we apply force on a wall, it doesn't move. So the force in a simple meaning means or is called a push or pull of an object. It's called force. Now we'll discuss some effects of force. Now there are several effects of force. Talking about the first one is that a force can stop a moving object. For example, applying a force, a footballer can stop a football. Now the second is a force can move a stationary object. That is an object which is not moving. For example, there is a ball and it's there in a stationary movement, or it's there in, for example, there is a football and it's there in a still manner. So if we want, we can move that ball from this place to another place by applying our force. Now the third is a force can change the direction of a moving object. This is very simple, like a moving car changes its direction when a force is applied on its steering wheel. And the last is a force can change the shape and size of an object. For example, there is a balloon, and if we press the balloon full of air, it changes its shape and size. Or roti or chapatis, you can say, if we apply our force with our hands, then that roti or that chapati will change its shape and size. Now let's talk about the types of force. First is magnetic force. Students, I hope that you have seen a magnet. So if we bring a magnet near any iron object or near the iron nails, then what we will see that magnet has attracted the nails or that iron. Why? Because magnet has a force that attracts the iron, and this force applied by a magnet on a particular object is called magnetic force, or in other language you can say it's magnetism. Okay. Now the second is electrostatic force. Now electrostatic force is the attractive or repulsive force between two electrically charged objects. Like for example, if we comb our hair and then bring that comb and then bring that comb near a paper, then that paper will get attracted towards the comb. Why? Because on rubbing in the hair especially, the comb gets charged and then it attracts the paper. So when things are rubbed with each other, they become charged, or you can say they becomes electrically charged, and then a force of attraction is produced, and this force of attraction we call electrostatic force. Okay. Now the next is gravitational force. The gravitational force is a force that attracts any two objects with mass. We call the gravitational force attractive because it always tries to pull masses together. It means that whatever we throw upwards comes down, or each and every time we try to jump, we can only jump up to a certain height. All this happens due to gravity. Gravity or gravitational force always attracts objects towards the center of its surface. Due to this gravitational force, we are able to stay on the earth, otherwise we would be floating. And the earth and other planets revolve around the sun due to this gravitational force. Next is buoyant force. Now, when we push down any object in water, we feel that there is an upward push from the water. Now, this upward push or the upward force acting on that particular ball from the water is called the buoyant force. We see things floating on water due to the presence of this buoyant force only. We can see the huge ships or the boats floating on water due to the presence of this buoyant force. Now the fifth is force of friction. But before going to the force of friction, we have to know that what is friction. So when two people or objects of opposite views or ideals come together, or the resistance that occurs when the surfaces rub together, then friction occurs. For example, suppose we are riding a bicycle, and if after some time we stop pedaling our bicycle, then we will see that the bicycle is stopped. Similarly, when we roll a ball over a floor, it gradually stops down, and then it gradually slows down, and then it stops. All these things occurs because when a ball is rolled on the floor, then a force acts between the ball and the floor, and that slows down the ball. So thus, a force that slows down the movement of objects across a surface is called force of friction or frictional force, and it's also known as the force of resistance. Now there are so many advantages and disadvantages of friction. We will discuss this now. Now the advantages of friction are, we can walk on the road or we can walk on any surface only because of this friction, and if there is less friction, then we fall. Then the next is, vehicles can only run in the road because of the frictional force between the road and the tire of the automobiles or the vehicles, you can say. Third is, we can write with our pen or pencil in the copies or in the pages only because of this frictional force. Now the disadvantages of frictional force are, number one, friction produces unnecessary heat that damages the machines. That is why we use oils in the machines, in the bicycles, etc. We use oils just to reduce this frictional force or just to reduce this heat. Next is, friction also damages tires and the soles of our shoes. And the next is, the forest fire are caused due to the friction between trees branches. Okay, so this is all about the friction. Now the next force is muscular force, and this is very easy. The force which is produced by our muscles is known as the muscular force. And the next is mechanical force. The mechanical forces are those forces which involve contact with the other object on which the force is applied on. The many simple machines like the bulldozers or tractors, they use this mechanical force to work. Now talking about work, anything which we are doing is work, and anywhere we are applying a force, then we can say that our work is done. Like for example, when we push a table, it moves in a particular direction. Why? Because we have applied force to push the table, and after pushing the table, when the table is moved from one place to another, we can say that our work is done. So force is very much important to complete a work. Now let's come to energy. What is energy? The ability to do work is called energy. To perform any activity like playing, reading, running, etc., energy is required. It takes energy to cook food, to drive a car, to jump in the air, etc. Energy has different forms. Now we will read them all. Now the first is heat energy. Now the energy that we get from the heat is called heat energy. It may be fire, it may be anything, but the energy that we get from heat is called heat energy, and this heat energy is produced for burning anything like LPG, kerosene. Even we use heat energy to cook food. Next is light energy. Now the energy that we get from light is called light energy. It's produced by by the sun or any bulb or any CFL lamp or any tube, candle, etc. Next is kinetic energy, the energy of an object due to its movement. Like whatever it's moving, it requires an energy, and that energy due to its movement is called the kinetic energy. For example, a moving bike, a moving bus, a running boy, etc. All have kinetic energy because of its movement. Next is potential energy. Now the potential energy means the energy which is stored in a particular position. For example, the water stored in a tank, it has a potential energy. Next is mechanical energy. Now the mechanical energy is a mix-up, or you can say is a mixture of potential energy and kinetic energy. Energy in an object due to its position, due to its still position, that is potential energy, and its movement, that is kinetic energy, together called mechanical energy. Like for example, if we store a water in a particular place and suddenly we release that water from a certain height, then energy produced will be mechanical energy. Next is electrical energy. Electrical energy is the energy that we get from the electric current, and through which we can run many appliances like television, any machines, etc. Next is wind energy, the energy we get from the wind. So it has a power, we get the energy from the wind, and it's used to generate electricity. Now the wind energy is generated from a windmill. I hope that you have seen somewhere the windmill. So windmill means using windmill we get this wind energy, and we use this energy to generate electricity. Next is solar energy. Solar energy is the energy that we get from the sun. Now we use solar energy in many ways, like sometimes we use solar energy to light our bulbs, to cook food in solar cookers, to heat water in solar heaters. Even the solar calculators and solar watches are also available. Next is hydro energy. The flowing water, the energy we get from the flowing water of rivers is called the hydro energy, and this energy of flowing water generates electricity, and the energy which is generated from this electricity is called the hydroelectricity. Next is sound energy. The sound energy is that energy which we get from the sound of any objects. Now the energy we get from the sound energy, it's produced when an object starts vibrating. For example, the vibration of the music system, the vibration of the guitars, etc. It produces a sound, and from this the sound energy is produced. Next is geothermal energy, and it's the last one. Now the geothermal energy is the heat within the Earth's surface. The word geothermal comes from the Greek words geo, which means earth, and thermo, which means heat. Now this geothermal energy, it's a renewable source of energy, and we can generate electricity by using the steam and hot water produced inside the Earth's surface. So students, this is all about your chapter force, work and energy. I hope that you have understood it properly. So just go through the chapter one time and again, and if you have any doubts or queries, you can ask me. You can comment in the comment section below. So students, this is all about our today's video. If you have liked my explanation, then please like this video, share it to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe Revision Learning and press the bell icon so that you never miss any of our videos and updates. So So all about today. Till then, keep studying, keep learning, and we'll meet in the next video. So keep studying, keep learning, because your education is our care. And thanks for watching this video. Bye bye.